This week, Hungary's opposition party Tisza, led by Peter Magyar, a former Fidesz insider who previously held a handful of well-paid but low-profile government roles, shocked political observers by surging to a 15-point poll lead among decided voters in a recent opinion poll over Prime Minister Viktor Orban's leading Fidesz party. Since winning its first parliamentary majority in 2010, Fidesz has dominated Hungarian politics, consistently securing around 50% of the popular vote. But the latest polling numbers are striking. 51% of decided voters now support Tisza, while Fidesz has slipped to just 36%. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the rise of Tisza and whether Magyar stands a chance at winning the 2026 general elections. Everyone talks about the left and right of politics, but in Europe there's something new emerging, a new right. In the latest issue of our magazine, we explain this new phenomena and run through some of the elections the new right have been winning. Read more by clicking the link in the description. Now, to understand this story, we have to go back to February 2024, when Hungary's president Katalin Novak and Judit Varga, Magyar's ex-wife and Orbán's justice minister, were forced to resign after it emerged that they pardoned a man involved in covering up a sex abuse scandal at a children's home. This prompted huge anti-government rallies across the country, and the reason it caused so much outrage was because, in line with the rest of Fidesz, Novak had presented herself as a defender of traditional Christian family values and a protector of children. The Hungarian public were understandably incensed by Novak's hypocrisy, which massively undermined Fidesz's pro-family agenda. This political earthquake also opened up space for a vocal anti-Orbán figure. Magyar, then a member of Fidesz, announced that he was quitting the party, claiming that Orbán's rule was a political product, before going on to give a series of interviews where he declared that Orbán's government was rife with corruption, and that Orbán's allies had racked up a huge personal wealth hidden behind domestic private equity firms. Instead of launching a new party from scratch, Magyar joined an existing but completely unknown party called Tisza. With no political base or public support, Tisza seemed like an odd vehicle, but it offered Magyar a shortcut onto the June European election ballot. He framed the party's mission as a total clean-up of Hungarian politics, aiming to end corruption. And it's worth noting here that according to Transparency International's Corruption Index, Hungary is the EU's most corrupt country. Impressively, Tisza won nearly 30% of the vote in the European elections, and since then, Magyar has campaigned relentlessly, visiting towns across Hungary and even reaching out to diaspora communities in Romania, who typically vote for Fidesz. All of this effort led to him overtaking Orbán in the polls in 2024, and today he holds a sizable lead. But this isn't necessarily a new thing. Many opposition parties have tried and failed to take on Orbán before. But over the past decade, opposition parties have either fractured, faded, or been tainted by scandal. Therefore, attempts to create a wide anti-Orbán electoral alliance, like Left Unity in 2014 or United for Hungary in 2022, all failed to inspire voters. And many still associate the opposition with unpopular figures like the former Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány. So why has Magyar succeeded where the other former opposition parties have failed? Well, as always, we see at least three reasons. First, it looks like Magyar is gaining support not only from those who voted for the opposition blocs in the past, but also from Orbán's voters. This is because his broad conservative platform speaks directly to disillusioned Orbán voters. For instance, in the issue of immigration, Magyar wants to continue Orbán's strict policies and has accused Orbán of hypocrisy, pointing out that his government has brought tens of thousands of non-EU migrant workers to the country. Similarly, Tisza's public spending program sounds a lot like Orbán's, but more generous. Tisza's 21-point program actually includes policies like immediately doubling the family allowance, increasing the pensions of 420,000 elderly people, increasing wages for nurses and social workers, and allocating as many resources as possible to health and education. Combined with his anti-corruption politics, this allows him to present a fresh face without scaring off more conservative voters. Secondly, Tisza is a single party, not a messy coalition. Magyar has refused to align with the traditional opposition, freeing himself from the baggage of unpopular establishment figures. And this all helps him to look new and clean, even if his Fidesz past does raise some eyebrows. But the third and perhaps most important reason is the economy. As we've detailed in previous videos, the Hungarian economy has been in a real rut for the past couple of years or so, which has hurt Orban's popularity. Hungary suffered a severe inflationary shock in 2022 and 2023, with year-on-year inflation peaking at 25%, forcing Hungary's central bank to hike interest rates to a 20-year high. This triggered a deep contraction in real wages, and when you adjust household spending for purchasing power, Hungarians rank at the bottom of the EU, tied with Bulgaria. To placate voters, rather than investing in the country's crumbling infrastructure, Orban has been running huge budget deficits to fund giveaways to key voter groups, like tax breaks for the young, pension bonuses for the elderly, and home renovation grants for families. This spending, combined with the fact that the EU has frozen billions of euros in funding over democratic backsliding and rule of law concerns, has meant that Hungary ran a pretty massive deficit, representing 4.9% of GDP in 2024, which is only expected to grow this year. To make matters worse, this spending has pushed up inflation, which has risen back to about 5%, and hasn't actually helped growth, with Hungary's GDP contracting by 0.4% in the first quarter of this year. Meanwhile, Orban has been tightening his grip on the freedoms of civil society. Orban recently banned Budapest's main Pride event, and a recent Spring Clean law, marketed as a transparency initiative, has been criticised for targeting foreign-funded NGOs and independent media. On top of that, corruption scandals continue to pile up, and a recent viral documentary accused Orban's inner circle, including his son-in-law, of enriching themselves through rigged government contracts and private equity deals. So now the real question is, what are Tisa's chances at the ballot box? Well, a new poll shows that 42% of voters now expect Tisa to win the next election, compared to 38% for Fidesz. According to Ender Han, director of the Median Polling Institute, this is remarkable, because for 2 decades, pre-election polls have almost always forecast a Fidesz win, and these predictions have usually held to be true. Despite this, there are still a few reasons that Tisa's chances could fall through. First, many remain wary of Magyar's rapid rise, and because of his former ties to Fidesz, despite his anti-corruption stance, some still see him as part of the system that he's now denouncing. Secondly, Tisa's catch-all approach, appealing to both moderates and conservatives, may be difficult to sustain, and previous elections have shown that simply being anti-Orban isn't enough. Finally, even if Tisa continues to lead in the polls, they'll still be fighting an uphill battle. That's because over the past decade, Orban's government has introduced a series of electoral reforms that systematically tilt the playing field in Fidesz's favour, such as redrawing district boundaries to benefit rural pro-Fidesz areas. Add to that a media environment tightly controlled by the government and a heavily mobilised pro-Fidesz diaspora, and it becomes clear that defeating Orban at the ballot box requires not just popularity, but a landslide. Like a lot of things right now, this topic is incredibly complex and ever-changing. And here at TLDR, we're committed to learning more to help us understand the world around us. Luckily for us though, our sponsor this week, Brilliant, helps us do just that. We know that learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for your professional and personal growth. And Brilliant helps you get smarter in minutes a day. You can even perfect your skills wherever you are, whether you're on the go or winding down. It's the opposite of mindless scrolling. Brilliant has the perfect mix of engaging problems, competitive features, and daily encouragements to keep you motivated and on track. For instance, Brilliant's data science course uses real-world data to train you to see trends and make better informed decisions. No matter your level of skill, these courses are perfect to start or continue learning data analysis, with a full suite of content covering data visualizations, algorithms, regression models, and more. You can even learn to parse and visualize massive datasets from brands you know to make them easier to interpret. Plus, all of the content on Brilliant is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, and professionals from Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Microsoft, Google, and more. To try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Plus, they'll know that you came from us, which really helps us out.